give credit to Miami. We didn't know if they were going to make it into the playoffs, and now they're in the national title game, and it will be a home game for Miami, waiting for the outcome of tonight's Peach Bowl with Oregon and Indiana. Carson Beck, he did it when he needed to do it. It's not always pretty, but he did it and had the game winner, ran it in. Now, there's a lot of things that we can discuss with this. There are a couple of plays. Ole Miss should have had a couple of interceptions. Miami dominated time of possession over 40 minutes. And Carson Beck had a couple of plays. He doesn't normally like to throw over the middle. He threw over the middle, but you're converting 11 third downs into first downs. You keep the clock going. And give credit to Ole Miss. When they did have the ball, they made Miami pay, and that's a really good defense. And Chambliss is a wonderful player. You know, you watch him, and he does have the ingredients of being a pro quarterback. I don't know if he's coming back. I think he is trying to come back. The NCAA has not ruled on that yet, but he had a wonderful night as well. And it was a great story for Ole Miss. And I did wonder if Lane Kiffin would have been coaching that team, if there was no drama surrounding this. And maybe, you know, it's not fair to do this, but I did wonder this. Did they benefit from this with Lane Kiffin leaving? And sort of, hey, he doesn't want us. Like, they kind of rallied around this. And I know it sounds strange that the guy who recruited all these players, built this team, got you in this position. Were you better because Lane Kiffin wasn't your coach last night? As strange as that may sound. And I would say, I don't think you were better, but I think you were bitter. And because of that, I think you played with that chip on your shoulder, but you would have benefited from having Lane Kiffin there, because now your head coach could have just concentrated on the defense. And, the defense got roughed up last night by Miami. But, you have time of possession. Also, another thing is reinforced, controlling the line of scrimmage. That's how you win. That's how you win big games. You run the football, you control the line of scrimmage, and that's what Miami did last night. But Ole Miss had opportunities there, but Carson Beck takes it in. And do we have the touchdown call here? You got it?
Beck holds his hands out, takes, drops,
to the right, to the right.
Looked. Watch the throw. Carson Beck into the end zone. He runs it in over the left side. Carson Beck takes it in for a Miami touchdown. Miami touchdown for Carson Beck. Is that the winning moment? It's a 3-yard touchdown.
And, he doesn't run that much. He did run a little bit more last night, but he can give you that great play, and then he can also give you one of those, kind of scratch your heads like, what was that? He's got to be a little bit more consistent. You're not going to get away with that, in the championship game, but they do have a home field advantage. And then you have this situation where Fernando Mendoza is from Miami, and then you got Mario Cristobal, who did coach Oregon. So either way, you got some interesting storylines there, but the U is back and an opportunity to win the national championship. Seton, what's the poll question today?
Well, we got one here from Paul. The play last night was pass interference and should have been called. Was pass interference and should not have been called, or wasn't pass interference? Referring to the final play of that game.
Yeah, and I usually like to look at what are the calls being made prior to that. And so, therefore, was it pass interference? Probably. You probably could have called holding on the touchdown run as well. It's tricky that there's so many plays, so many calls, non-calls, targeting, not targeting through the course of the game. But if you stay consistent, then it shouldn't matter if it's the first play or the last play. Was there a lot of hand-to-hand combat there? And it's not exactly a Hail Mary. On a Hail Mary, there is pass interference. Just about every Hail Mary, somebody is tugging, pulling, pushing, scratching, clawing. That one didn't feel Hail Mary-ish with the way the throw was. Now, it wouldn't have been a spot foul. It wouldn't have been on the 1-yard line if they did call it. It's 15 yards. But still, you like the consistency. And that one, you could have called it. You could have. And I know that kind of taking the easy way out. At the time, I did think there was excessive tugging, contact there. I just didn't think it was maybe enough that they were going to call it. I didn't think it was egregious, but I did think that it was there. I thought that the left tackle you could have called holding on the Carson Beck touchdown run, if you wanted to. Yes, Todd.
And isn't it easier, and we see in the NFL all the time, to pick up a flag and say there's no foul on the play, as opposed to the other way where it's one thing to throw a late flag, but to not throw it at all. Then you can't all of a sudden gather together and say, we should have called the penalty on that. It was pass interference.
Well, we'll talk to Chris Fowler. He'll join us coming up because Chris will sometimes say to the rules official, like, you sure about that? You sure that wasn't pass interference? So Chris will join us coming up. Is that the only poll question we have for the first hour?
We're going to put that one up now. We're also going to work on one off of our most must-win games of the weekend. That'll turn into a poll question as well. We have a couple of options here from Todd, since it is a Friday, Fritzy.
Oh.
Might as well throw over to that.
Okay, Todd.
While tweeting his disappointment last night after Ole Miss lost, would Lane Kiffin pass a lie detector test?
That'd be good TV. Do I think he was rooting for his team, former team? I hope. He was also going to get $250,000 if they advanced to the national title game. So he might have been rooting from that angle. But also there has to be part of you that they might win without me and go to the national title game. Like, it's got to be... I don't think it's cut and dried that he's like, of course he's rooting for Ole Miss. I don't know if it's cut and dried. Yes, Marvin.
You kind of took the words out of my mouth. Personally, I think he wants them to win. Legacy-wise, he does not want them to win. Because the one national championship that he was a part of, he really wasn't a part of because he left before they won.
Okay, you got to pick. So what would you pick?
I'm rooting for him.
Okay. Paul, do you think that Kiffin was rooting for Ole Miss?
If he's a human being at all, yes.
Last I looked, he is a human being.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
Seton.
Yeah, I think he was.
Todd?
I like to think the best in people that he wanted his group to win. I do. I could be sarcastic and passive-aggressive and be a wise guy, but I would like to think that the humanitarian part of Lane Kiffin, whatever that is he wanted his guys to win it.
You have spent the last, I don't know how long, killing this dude.
I know.
Killing this dude. Oh, well, my ego is so big that I got to win it, and I hope that it's it.
That being said, I want to believe that he genuinely wanted them to win, even if it meant him not being standing there holding the trophy up with the guys and the confetti and everything.
Yes, Paul.
When you say I want to believe, it means you don't believe.
Yeah. You're trying to convince yourself.
I'm going to say 51-49 he wanted his team to win.
I'm going to say that he wanted Ole Miss to win because he does have some guys on his LSU staff who were there, and maybe he's wanting them to succeed as well or get the spotlight going into a national title game. I'm going to choose to believe that.
There you go.
Thank you, Todd. What other poll questions?
A few more. If it's not my team, I still want Indiana to win tonight because of Fernando Mendoza, in spite of him. The whole choir boy, like, are you an AI person? Are you real with all that? Like, because of him or in spite of him, you want Indiana to win tonight?
Okay. All right. It doesn't sound like you're rooting for humanity there with that. I thought you rooted for humanity.
I want Indiana to win, but I can't believe someone can be that. I thought Tim Tebow was something, but this guy's taking it to a whole other level.
Yes, Marv.
Hold on. Fritzy just said, I want to see the best in people. And then once you see the best in people, you're skeptical?
I think when you go to a higher level than the best and you're now like, oh, my God, is this person even like a real person? Or
you never said that about Tim Tebow. You never said, I don't know. Is he a real guy?
When he was with the Broncos, I would never say that.
Yeah.
But before and after Denver, I'm like, really? Everything is a psalm and all the numbers and stats like Tebow time?
Yes, Paulie.
I've been sitting amongst Fritzy for years, but lately, over the past month, he's been mumbling little things about Fernando Mendoza. Like, this guy's too good to be real. Is this real? He just mumbles it lightly when he's on TV.
He's just so excited and everything's great and, praise the Lord. And like, just so great to be alive. It's like, okay. Maybe I'm jealous of his happiness level.
Yeah,
I'm generally a happy
That's
person.
what this is. That's what this is.
Who could be that happy?
You have jealousy over people.
I think that's definitely what it is. We did the same thing with with the music. I wish I could be a stand-up comic like that or perform and sing with the whole, Elvis thing and people freaking out over. Like,
and girls crying. That's why you don't like the Beatles.
yeah. Like,
Why don't you be more like Fernando Mendoza? Then you wouldn't have this cynical approach.
there's a jealous, selfish kind of, what about me? How come you're not screaming about me and cheering for me? It's sad.
Yes, Marvin.
I'm just shaking my head.
Okay.
DB. I mean, it's 9-12.
I warned you it was a Fritzy Friday. I came in and Fritzy was harassing me as I'm pulling into the parking lot.
Chased
there.
you down the driveway, the parking lot.
Yes, Paul.
I want to go back to the end of this play. I watched it another time, the end of the Ole Miss game, and it's really a quandary because it's not a jump ball. If it's a jump ball, Hail Mary, they never throw a flag with all the infighting. It's more of a pass to the back of the end zone to one guy, but there's other players in the wash.
Yeah.
And the ref is also directly behind the back of the receiver. He can't see the front of the receiver being pulled upon. But right at the end of the play, the Miami defensive back does the not me, arms up move.
And don't do that because nothing says...
Like a magnet.
Nothing says I'm guilty more than putting my hands up to say I didn't touch him.
I do agree with what you said earlier, is that it's a spot, not a spot foul, and it's 15 yards, which means you don't decide the game by throwing that flag.
Yeah. Congratulations to Miami. I know that there was... I don't think it was one of those, is it Miami or Notre Dame getting in? From what I was told, Alabama may have been the one that people were more curious about than Miami. But it felt like it came down to Miami and Notre Dame in their resumes. And then, the committee got it right. I mean, they got it wrong that Notre Dame's not in, but they did get some things right. And I think as much as, we've harped on that, it's an inexact science. It looks like they did pretty well. The numbers are probably going to be crazy for last night's game and then tonight's game. And if you have the Indiana story, even the Oregon story on Monday night for the national title.